What's going on, guys? JD here, and you know what? Craigslist has struck again. Roll intro. Alright, everybody, so first and foremost, an apology. Today I started working on my car and I didn't set up the camera. I had a buddy over here, a buddy by the name of Josh, come over and help me tear down my car to try to figure out why I had a serious little water leak. I say little. The car was pissing out every bit of coolant it had. Anyway, I didn't know if he'd be comfortable being on camera or not, so I just kind of I left the camera inside and just started tearing apart the car. It was supposed to be a pretty simple fix. Chased down a coolant leak, replaced whatever gasket or anything that had messed up. I put the car back together so I could get out and back to work, and so on and so forth with it. Unbeknownst to me, there was some more jerry rigging that I hadn't discovered yet. So in today's video, I'm going to kind of document that, show you guys what's actually wrong with the car, and talk about my plan to fix it, or what I've come up with in the past hour or so of being incredibly pissed off in regards to how I'm going to put this back together so I can drive my car. So I'm going to turn the camera and kind of point it forward and show you guys what's up. Alright, so as you notice, I've got the intake manifold and all the accessories off the engine. Hopefully you can still hear me well. But I'm going to zoom in here and show you something that's kind of awful. I want you to look right here. That's supposed to be an open hole, all right? And as we get up on it, and set the camera's focus on that very specific spot, my shadow is making it hard to see. That's stuffed with JB Weld and the remainder of an intake manifold stud that's supposed to be in there. So, zoom back out. Anyway, so what has happened is that stud was broken by the previous owner. They stuffed a bunch of JB Weld down off in the intake manifold through that hole, put the remaining piece of the stud in there and shoved it down in there. It had a nut and a bolt on it, or a nut and a washer on it, as it would normally have if it was working appropriately. And when I pulled the intake manifold while chasing this leak, I found that. So backtrack a little bit. The leak happened and it was pouring coolant down the front of the engine block, and it was running down the front of the driver's side and dripping off of the oil pan gasket. They have a little bit of overlap that hangs out there, and I thought maybe it had a timing chain cover leak or something, a water pump leak, something ridiculous like that. And come to find out, well, backtrack a little bit more. I'm getting ahead of myself because I am incredibly angry that I found this. I'm glad I waited a little bit before recording, because I'd have had to beep every other word that come out of my mouth. Fortunately enough, calmed down, not that angry anymore about it. To sum it up, I pulled off all the accessories with the help of Josh and planned. I had ordered off Amazon. I ordered a new intake manifold gasket set for the lower and upper end intake manifold. Ordered a timing chain cover gasket set, water pump gasket set, and a thermostat gasket set. I ordered all that stuff with intentions of just going through and freshening up the top half of the motor to fix the leak. Got everything pulled off and found that the gasket, the section of the gasket, which there's like a little kind of S-shaped section at the front of the intake manifold, had been pushed out and was leaking from the intake manifold. Simple fix, right? So we get the intake manifold off, and I didn't catch it at first. I didn't realize that stud didn't stay where it was supposed to in the intake manifold, like in the top of the cylinder head. When I pulled the intake manifold off, came off really easy. Got the intake manifold off and noticed that the stud was still in the intake manifold where they jammed JB Weld in there. So I was like, oh, that's weird. Came over to the engine block and I found what's supposed to be a smooth plane that's aligned with the cylinder head. Like, hold on, I'll show you. It's easier just to show you. This plane here is supposed to be smooth and go at an angle, but if you notice, let me zoom in again and show you guys what's up. That right there, that rise, that's the remainder of that stud and JB Weld that's been stuffed in there, all in that little section there. So, discovering that, I discovered that the stud was gone. and broken off of there. So what's going to have to happen is I'm either going to have to take that cylinder head to the machine shop, have that hogged out, drilled, or retapped, or replace the cylinder heads. I hadn't put it in my budget for a set of head gaskets to be able to pull it off and take it and have it machined and be able to reinstall it. And if you do one, you might as well do both and put a new set of head gaskets in it. I'm sorry, I could barely talk today. I'm so angry. Needless to say, I'm stuck dead in the water. I'm out of money. I think what I'm going to end up doing, and I happily listen to you guys' comments if you want to comment below and let me know what you think I should do. But I think what's going to happen is I'm going to save up a little bit of money, try to find a second-hand set of high-performance cylinder heads and a second-hand intake manifold. So instead of fixing stock stuff, which feels ridiculous, kind of redundant, a waste of money, when I plan on changing out the heads and intake. I've already got an aftermarket camshaft in the car. That feels ridiculous, so I'm just going to save up and buy aftermarket stuff secondhand and hop the car up that way. That's going to be about it for this video. Like I said, I'm struggling to compose myself because I'm slightly angry. This is not the first thing I found on this car that was done half-butted. I'm trying not to cuss. And I'm sure I'll find more. But all I can say is if you don't know what you're doing, even when you break something, there's a proper course of fixing something in regards to, you know, breaking off a stud well. At the time that you break it off, it's a whole lot cheaper to drill out, tap, and buy a new bolt than it is to do something like this, to where it caused the car to nearly overheat, pop head gaskets because it pushed out the intake manifold gasket late. You're causing problems further on down the line instead of just taking the time to properly repair something in the first place. With that said, guys, like, comment, subscribe. I'm celebrating actually breaking 200 subscribers today. Not a huge number. It's not some kind of, oh my God, you hit 1 million. But for me, that's huge. You know, I just recently started my channel. If you came here from Kyle Voss's channel, The Fab Forums, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you guys checking out my stuff and coming and jumping on board to hang out. If you've got any questions or comments about any of the videos that I've done, feel free to comment below. And I'll happily respond, and, you know, let's hang out and do something cool. Outside of that, peace. Have a great weekend, guys. I'll catch you later.